We will now start our post lunch session with a address by Hemant Prabhu, Chief Operating Officer, Infrastructure, Industrial Logistics at Hiranandani Communities.
Good afternoon, everyone. So, while people settle down and we have everyone, I'll just start off with I was very happy when I saw that my name was before the lunch session. And I've always had this inviolable task in all my previous assignments to talk on board meetings or AGMs right after lunch. I don't know whether I'm cursed about it or what, because I used to handle leasing function. And in my previous organization, leasing marketing was our bread and butter. That was what the revenues used to come from. So the management expected me to stir up everyone after lunch with whatever promises I had made the last year and see whether I've delivered or not. And everyone was ready to attack or whatever it was. So yesterday when I saw that I was before lunch, I was very happy. But again, I said, and then when I came in the morning, I said, we're running half an hour lunch, and I knew this was going to happen with me. Well, no problems. So here we are. The topic I'm going to speak on is meeting infrastructure for the future demand. And I was hearing on the retreat yesterday a lot of Dr. John talked, Paul talked, everyone talked about speed, everyone talked about agility, and everyone talked about a lot of Internet of Things, blockchain and everything, and infrastructure. And I was like, and I saw my topic was about meeting infrastructure for the future demand. I was like, are we even ready for the past? I mean, we are not even ready for the past. Forget the present and the future. What are we talking about? I love India. I really love my country. But let's face the reality. Where are we? Yesterday we spoke about the Silk Route, Obor. We spoke about India being, the length and the breadth. I was like surprised. The breadth, we are like 41st nation, and the length, we are like 129. Fine, wonderful. But where are we internally? And then someone said we need to first improve internally, or let's go globally later, but let's first talk about inside. And then I said, good, that's what we need to do. Our infrastructure sucks. It's really bad. So this is the reality. And I'm going to take you through what it is about. So that's it. The situation today, and I put a small until today. So let's see what it is. This is what we are faced with. This is the quality of our roads. Potholes everywhere. No, government's trying to do everything they can, but this is what it is. This is how our trailers are loaded with. I mean, they go through the narrowest of the roads. I don't know even we can qualify that as a road or not, but that's how they do it. And, okay, here's something. Suddenly you have like a monstrous hole appearing, and it happens even in Mumbai. There's a pipe leak, and you have suddenly a hole. And this is what happens. Okay. And then somebody said yesterday about cow lynching. Our friends from Global are not over here, but we are an Atiti Bhavo country, and we love our guests. And we also love our cows. So they get the first priority, right of way on our roads. So that's how it is. And this is some warehouses in Bhiwandi and everywhere in the country. That's how the quality of the buildings are. One more. Here's one more. And then this is what happens, because our infrastructure is not yet capable to handle these situations. It's not built to that quality or the standards that can meet any eventual situation, and then you have fires, and then everything comes crashing down. And I was actually, I think this I have been witness to this incident. This happened in Chennai. This happened in a park which we were trying to buy from someone, and right in front of my eyes, this was this fire. And believe me, everything was down within half an hour. Because there was no protection system, there was no fire protection system, there was no emergency exits, there was nothing available, no infrastructure to handle such a situation. Okay, but that's, well, I said that was the past. We have made considerable strides and progress since then. Government is really, really doing a lot of things, and this is what it is today in many parts of the country. We have expressways, we have good roads. Situation is indeed changing. So infrastructure in itself is I mean, we're talking about scaling infrastructure to meet future demand. Infrastructure is a big word, you know. What constitutes infrastructure? So you have transportation. Let's not go anywhere else. Let's talk about Mumbai. I mean, we've got the metro, which is coming up. We've got the Trans Harbor. We've got Navi Mumbai Airport. So there's been a lot of intent, I would say, to scale up infrastructure in terms of transportation. In energy, I have visited a lot of places, interiors. So if you go towards Sinnar or interior Maharashtra, go towards Gujarat, there's a lot of emphasis on solar. There's a lot of emphasis on wind energy. You see a lot of those global companies like Vestas, TPI Composites coming in and investing on generating solar. So government's doing a lot of that in that case. Water. Yesterday somebody talked about, and there was a great presentation about how the ports are being developed to utilize our natural resources. And we saw the Sagarmala of so many ports, that we have such a huge network of ports that's been created all around India to get the water network happening. And then green infrastructure. So a lot of emphasis now we see in terms of policy changes which the government is bringing in to emphasize on green infrastructure, which is whether it's leaving your minimum green coverage ratios or putting in your digital. We spoke about it, artificial intelligence, blockchain, everything. Social infrastructure, this is more about creating communities. So I'll touch a little bit later on my next, in my subsequent slides, but that's more about communities where you throw in schools, hospitals, colleges to supplement with the infrastructure that's been created. Government services and resilience. Resilience is about, you'll see consultants now being very resilient to the fact that we've got buildings which are structurally strong so that they're resilient to tsunamis, to earthquakes. So there's a lot of work going on in that sector as well. Now, supplement with this, the infrastructure that needs to be created, government is also doing a lot of initiatives, and I think we are very fortunate that a lot of these initiatives or a lot of these things are coming quickly out. So GST has been a game changer, which everybody here acknowledges, and it's going to bring in a lot of consolidation. Large, small warehouses going to go out. We're going to get big boxes where people will consolidate, and that's going to be GST. Public-private partnerships that are happening. Make in India is something which is happening. Integrated industrial area and parks that the government is promoting everywhere around the dedicated freight corridors. Then we have integrated logistics parks and these smart cities being created. So government is also taking a lot of initiatives in this direction, and developers are really making use of these policy changes so that they can build the necessary infrastructure around these things. And I see this is what is going to be a new environment or a new India that's going to be created. I mean, it looks very good, but yes, I think it's not very far that we'll be seeing this, because a lot of developers, a lot of infrastructure players are making those necessary changes to build these kind of sustainable townships. Okay, we talk about, we go back a little bit. So one thing is that now everyone's making these nice jazzy buildings you see. You have all the amenities inside. You have your squash courts, you have your swimming pools, everything. And it's a fantastic township. It's a fantastic building. However, the moment you step out, you face the reality. The roads are crumbling. No one's taking ownership of it. No one's taking the initiative to also look at that part. And that's what is lacking with us. So we, as developers, let me talk about Greenbase. This is what is the change that Greenbase, which is an initiative of Hiranandani, is we are doing is we're building industrial parks, we're building logistics parks, but we're not just focusing only on building an industrial park. We are also building the social infrastructure around it. We're developing the whole infrastructure which complements to creating an industrial park and logistic park. So first and foremost is the connectivity. When you talk about a location, you need it to be properly connected with the roads, with airports, with rail infra, with highways. So all the parks that at least we are creating are going to have this last mile connectivity, we can say, the first mile connectivity, so that the locations supplement with where you would want to be. Talking about civic infrastructure, the next is we need utilities. So we just can't have a huge development, 200, 300 acres without the necessary utilities. So as developers, it's our responsibility to ensure that all the necessary utilities to supplement for your present as well as future needs are going to be catered. So be it in terms of power, uninterrupted power, water, drainage, stormwater drainage, it has to be created. You just can't build buildings and then wait for the government to get in the utilities or the infrastructure. It's up to the developers to ensure that a park is fully supplemented with the necessary utilities to function properly. And then the most important thing, like I've seen this, I've visited industrial and logistics parks in US. I visited few in China. And one thing that I saw missing over there was, or maybe in some cases which we saw over there, was that they just not built an industrial park or a logistic park. They had actually created the whole social infrastructure around it. So be it schools, be it hospitals, be it residential, a little bit of retail, commercial, hospitality, and everything was there. So that made it so much easier for everyone to look at that place as somewhere, it's not like a godforsaken place somewhere where you just are manufacturing and your people have to be transported from the cities like 50 kilometers, 70 kilometers. That made a huge difference and an attraction for the manufacturing companies, for the logistics companies, for the 3PLs to look at that as a destination, because the whole infrastructure was available. You had, I mean, if you want to, you could actually relocate your people at the site, cut down on your expenses, and it makes the whole model so much better. So that was something which was, I think, was missing in India. If you look at Bhiwandi or any other logistics destination for that matter, it's just that now some developers have seen that as an opportunity and gone there and did a little bit of residential. But nobody did it as an integrated park or an industrial area where everything was available for the people who went over there to invest. And this is where I think is going to be the biggest change, where you have, and that's the infrastructure which was missing. That's the last mile infrastructure that was missing. Just take you through how we at Greenbase are planning our parks. This is a 250-acre development in Pune that we are doing. This is our first indigenously industrial logistic park that we are doing. We have got all the necessary approvals, which is the integrated industrial area. We have got the environmental consent. We have all the necessary, and this is how we are going to transform a barren piece of land into a sustainable township. So it's a highly contoured land, which is levels from if you stand at this point and to the furthest point, it's like about 60, 70 meters of contours. And we have done a lot of survey. We have done a lot of work into ensuring that the proper infrastructure happens around the whole thing. And then this is how we plan the green areas. This is actually happening over there on site. And the amenity spaces, so that enough space is reserved for creating those amenities, and then we have the industrial zones planned around the green and the buffer zones and the amenity spaces. And then we have the warehousing. And then very important is what we are doing is we're putting in a little bit of residential as well, so that people, blue collared, white collared, can actually stay in these locations and can walk to work, which is what everyone desires to do. And this is what we're creating over here. And then, very important, is the other amenities to support it. So be it from a completely secured site with a security gate at the entrance, so that the entire security of the park and the people and and everyone that's setting up their parks inside are looked after. So we've got a centrally managed security cabin with all the necessary high-end CCTVs and PA systems. Then we have a business center, so that people want to bring in their customers, and you don't need to, we don't need to invest into your own building to set up offices. And we'll be building these things. So that's where you can use the space. Truck parking. So usually what happens is all the trucks, they don't have parkings inside these parks. They just line up on the roads, and you're like a chaos everywhere. And this is not what we are going to do. We'll have dedicated areas for truck parking, weigh bridges, service station for trucks, because you need them, garages, petrol pumps, facilities for truck for washing, and importantly for the drivers to sleep overnight, because that's the incentive. These guys, poor guys, are driving all night, and then you're expecting them to then park and then sleep somewhere on the roads or within their trucks. We're going to have proper drivers' cabins where people can stay, cook the food, and sleep and rest. Banks and ATMs, proper substations so that the power complements with your requirement. Shopping and cafe, landscape, fire stations, very important. I mean, you saw that picture which I posted just before we start in my previous slides. And this is one aspect which is very important. That's one of the critical component of an infrastructure where we are compromising on the safety of our products and our people. And this is something is extremely important, so that it's there as a part of the infrastructure in these parks. So this is the Hiranandani way. This is Powai. And this is how we create self-sustainable township. If you've seen Powai, we have those great buildings to stay over there. We've got great, fantastic 3 BHK, 4 BHK apartments. And anywhere in India you go, I'm saying anywhere in India, it's my challenge. You step out of your building, out of your street, and you face the reality. This doesn't happen in Powai, because we as Hiranandani took it upon ourselves as our responsibility to build that last mile infrastructure. We took it upon ourselves to create that feeling of a community, of a township which is self-sustainable. And this is what you get. And this is what Hiranandani is going to do, transform the landscape of an industrial and logistic park. This is something which will be replicated on an industrial park. Just before I was doing my presentation, I spoke to someone, and then a very interesting question he asked me, that, well, if these are premium parks, and India being, and yesterday so many people, the point that John and everyone said, that Indians are very cost conscious. So what's going to be the price of this thing? Is it going to be like AAA because it's premium? And that's a myth. That's a completely unfounded theory. Because, and I told this gentleman that no, you're going to pay less than what actually people are paying till now on all these buildings, be it everywhere. You're like in C-grade buildings, you're paying whatever you're paying, you're compromising on your safety, you're compromising on your everything, on your business and everything, and you got a AAA building, and you'll still be paying the same. And the reason is because we're not just building one building, we're building a community, we're building 6 million. So Pune is about 6 million square feet, whereas, I mean, that number is so big. So what we're doing is, we are harvesting the 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 huge space that we're in, a lot of common amenities, the costs are going to be shared, and that's what's going to be transferred back to the back to the customers. And that's something that we're creating, quality space at C grade prices. This is what we are delivering, this is what we are promising. Thank you.
Thank you, Hemant. May I request Kalpesh to please present a memento to Hemant.